Welcome to this episode of Say It with Scott, where we look at how the words we use affect the lives we live. I'm Scott Sery. I'm a copywriter, and I'm a lover how we can take a word here and there, twist it around just a little bit, and dramatically change the entire message that we're sending. This episode is brought to you by Strategic Advisor Board and by my company, Sery Content Development. I want to tell you a little story about 20 years ago of a trip I took to northwestern Montana. The trip was a kind of a guise of going to visit a mutual friend that lived up in the area. So Clay and his girlfriend at the time, we all got in the car and we drove up there. The guise was that we're going to visit a friend when in actuality Clay wanted to propose to his girlfriend that weekend, and so we all just wanted to go somewhere scenic, somewhere fun where we could do a little rock climbing, maybe fish in the reservoir, jump off cliffs, and just explore a new area where we hadn't been. So on the day that Clay went out to propose, him and his girlfriend, they did their own thing that day, and the mutual friend, Katie, and I, we went and explored. I jumped off a cliff into the reservoir, we wandered down a creek, and I jumped off a cliff into another little pond. There's a lot of cliff jumping involved in this weekend. And at one point, shortly after lunch, she was tired and she's like, I'm just going to hang out in the car, maybe take a little nap. I was like, I'm not taking a nap. I'm in a new area. I want to explore and see what's going on. So I just kind of found this little creek bed and started wandering off into the woods. I followed the creek because I certainly didn't want to get lost, and I knew if I just stayed in one spot, I could find my way back pretty easily. As I was going along, the creek kind of dried up and there was just a lot of rocks here and there, and so I'm picking up rocks and I'm throwing them and I'm doing things that a 20-ish year old, right around 20 years old dude does. And at one point I find this rock, I throw it and it hits another rock and it splits right in half, and this little gold nugget fell out of it. Now obviously I'm super excited because I just struck gold, right? Well, I very quickly realized, gold doesn't form in geometric shapes like this. It's actually iron pyrite. But it's still pretty cool, and it was still really exciting to find it. And so I put it in my pocket and went about and smashed a bunch of other rocks. Didn't find any more gold nuggets that day. But here I am, 20 years later, and I have this gold nugget that sits on the shelf next to my computer. It turned into a fantastic story and a fantastic memory of my time in northwestern Montana. The point is, you have fantastic stories as well. And there's somewhere in there that people want to hear, especially when you're building your personal brand. The trick is to get them out of your memory, turn them into a story that people want to read and are inspired by, so that they fall more in love with you and they want to do business with you. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Say It with Scott. I hope you found some inspiration and education you can apply to your own business. As usual, if you're struggling to turn those stories from your mind into something people want to read, just click on the links in the description below, reach out, and I'd be happy to help you. Before you go, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you get notifications whenever Strategic Advisor Board posts great new content.